All right, we're back. Microphone check.
Hey, I can't see you.
You got me now?
Okay, I can now. Hey, I reset up everything except for Instagram. So we'll see if this is going to work. I re-put the key codes in. Can you hear me, Kyle?
Yeah, I've got you.
Yeah, check.
Let's see here.
Hey, everyone. We are trying to go live here. We're going to see if this is going to work on the different platforms. If not, Kyle, we're going to have to send out a link for other people to watch it. We will, of course, upload this when it's finished.
Yeah, I'm still seeing LST 24 wrap up. It says upcoming on YouTube still.
And you don't see anything on my YouTube channel showing?
No.
That's weird. We will, of course, upload this. I put all the links in as well.
I got it live on my channel.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why? Through
C10 Club Maryland is live right now on YouTube.
Excellent.
I use the Streamlabs or whatever, but it's only streaming my camera. It's not doing the.
All right, so it looks like we have a few people on YouTube here. We go. Let's see. Yeah, we appreciate everyone bearing with us here.
Oh, I think I have it.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and paste this main link that I think is going to help some people. Check us out. We are live. Yeah, we appreciate everyone. We'll get started here in just a minute.
Oh.
We appreciate everyone bearing with us. 2024 LST wrap up. You can see why I've been doing this 8.5 years and I haven't went live yet, Kyle.
I think
done live videos before, but nothing like what we're trying to do with this, if that makes sense.
I think you're doing a heck of a job, Jason.
Dude, if Mike was here, man, he would be pulling all the puppet strings.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go in that group and then we'll get started. Check us. Platforms. Okay. So like I said, definitely appreciate everyone's patience. Let's get this kicked off, Kyle. And hopefully, if nothing else, what they'll do is they'll be able to find us through the Riverside FM. If you want to post this link, Kyle, I'm going to text it to you.
Okay.
And people can watch us here. We have to work out a few kinks with this software. For some reason, all of the links are set up and it didn't disperse it out. So we'll have to find out what's going on there. Yo, it's Our Liftstyle Podcast episode. I think we're on 353. This is the LST 2024 wrap-up. We, of course, did an LST episode last episode, and I know some people were going, man, I'm LST'd out. Well, I'm certainly not. I know Kyle's not. Before we get in this episode, Kyle, I want to thank our title sponsor, Scraping the Coast, for the continued support. Of course, their next event is June 21st through the 23rd, 2024 in Biloxi. We'll be out there, OLP. And we hope that you guys can join us, scraping with an IN, thecoast.com, for more information. Kyle, on this episode, though, I like the new hat. I want to give a shout out to Michael Anderpont. He hooked me up with this ranch hat, and I really appreciate him doing that.
Mob Steel Emma hooked me up with this hat, so let's give her a shout out too, LST. We both got new hats.
I've got a few Mob Steel things over here with my Lincoln stuff. You know, Mob Steels and Lincolns kind of go together like backboards and rims. Some Outcast lyrics, you know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah. Hey, yeah.
So on this episode, Kyle, we're going to talk about Lone Star Throwdown 2024. I know a lot of you guys want us to get right to the point. I know there's going to be some key items and discussions. For anybody that happens to not catch us live, because again, this is obviously a trial for us as Kyle, what do you call this?
This is the first annual or inaugural OLP live multi-stream platform. You name it, we're trying it tonight.
Yeah, and that's an inside deal on Mike because you never call something the first annual.
If it's the first.
He called Eastbound Get Down the first annual, and we were like, no, it's the inaugural, right?
What happens if you don't have a second one? How is
Dude,
it the first annual?
You never know.
This might be the last OLP live multi-platform.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. But on this episode, what I really want to do is we want to talk a little bit about LST, so we're going to get to that in just a moment. Obviously, there was a lot of hot topics that came out of LST 2024 after the show, not even pertaining to the showground, so we're going to get to that. But Kyle, first I want to say, hey, thank you for coming by, K-Dog, a.k.a. Kyle Fannin. Appreciate you coming back to guest co-host Mike. Fell off this week. I think he's on a all-night mail binge.
He has to make up for lost time when he was at LST last week. He's got extra days to deliver the mail. So if you had 2-day priority mail, it's probably going to be 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, real deal. Now, in addition to giving the shout-out, I want to say our episode overview is brought to you by our family at Hammered Weekend Wear, Hammerd, weekendwear.com. Please, if you haven't already, go check out their website. They have 2 new drops, a Nissan Hardbody, Noir, is that how you say it, Noir? They've got the theme spelled out on their website. They also have Follow the Drip, which is the Isuzu Austins from this area where I live. So it's pretty cool, kind of an old school vibe, that 90s, late 80s, 90s appeal. Hammered Weekend Wear. So breaking news, Kyle Fannin, I know we are truck guys for the most part, but I do want to say huge congratulations to Dave Kindig and team at Kindig-It. Did you see the award that they won?
That was a phenomenal build. That Riddler award is nothing to joke about. Like that's blown away. I've got nothing to say. That car was just phenomenal. And when you win a Riddler award, what else is there to top that?
Yeah, for sure. And it's I don't even know if you want to call it the Super Bowl of, it's I think the biggest award in the hot rod industry. And it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, but number one, I think, which I don't have a lot of time or money, but I will say it takes a lot of dedication, and that's the cool thing. I remember when I had Bill Hancock on, and Bill, of course, was at Colorado Custom Wheels a long time, and that's one of our most downloaded episodes. And Bill talked about billet wheel history. And he also talked about remembering when Dave came there with his VW and he was looking to get wheels produced for it. And if I remember correctly, Bill was just, he kind of saw something in that guy, and he was like, man, that guy is like determined. And, certainly, fast forward 30 plus years later, the empire, if you will, that he's created is something just, amazing to me. So, congratulations. It's cool to see Kev Dog there, of course, in Severed. There's a few Severed members there, but they also hire just people in general, Izzy's in ST, but there's a lot of like car enthusiasts there. And I think that's the thing, Kyle, right? You got to have the passion for whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Whether it's cars, trucks, skateboards, surfing, you name it. Like everybody has something that they're into. So the passion's there, and you don't ever want to lose the passion.
Oh yeah. And then Kyle, if you get a chance, in case Ronnie hits you up, make sure you send him the new link.
Okay, I'll text it to him.
Now, the breaking news is brought to you by our family at AccuAir. We got a chance to see AccuAir at Eastbound Get Down as well as Lone Star Throwdown. I love me some AccuAir. I'm just a promoter of the brand. I love the products that they produce. So certainly, if you're a mini trucker looking to up your air suspension, air management, hit up AccuAir. You guys know the website.com. You could also submit photos of your ride on the website and give photo credit there for a chance to be featured via their social media. Now, Kyle, I also want to give a huge shout out to the kinfolk at the freaking weekend. Trip and team, he was out at Lone Star Throwdown with the big hat on. And it was ironic because I saw those hats on Shark Tank, and it's pretty cool because it does get people's attention. You definitely need one.
Yeah, Brian from OBS Trends actually wears one around. I think he had an LST, 21. He was there with us, and he had the big hat on.
Yeah, you definitely need a Mob Steel / Detroit Steel Wheel Co. version of that. But
Yes.
I want to give a huge shout out. We're going to be out at the freaking weekend, and ironically enough, it's 3 months, give or take a day, after Scraping the Coast. So we'll be back in Biloxi for the freaking weekend. The pre-registration is open. OLP's on board. Now, dude, Kyle, with this episode, obviously we got off to a little bit of a rocky start. I don't know how many people are even going to be able to watch what we're doing here, simply because I did link it out to the different platforms. So if you're on the platforms and watching, thank you. This software, I guess the other software I was using was a little easier for that, but this is a lot easier for other things. But many of you are probably just going to end up hearing this maybe through the normal drop. The general updates, obviously, we're going to dedicate this to Lone Star Throwdown because there's so much to digest. And what I wanted to talk about first, Kyle, was I know if Mike was here, he knows I get pretty OCD about my lists, leading up to this event, or any event, rather. And with bringing a truck, it had been the first time in 10 years that I brought something out. Now, we typically bring the merchandise, the beds full, things like that. But talk to us a little bit about, like, the mindset that you have to have prepping, driving a C20, and talk to us about all that.
Well, there wasn't much prepping involved for this because there was 0 shakedown runs, because 4 or 5 days prior to us leaving, I decided I would take the carburetor off and install a Holley fuel injection system. And that took me up until about 12:30 at night, Tuesday night, and we pulled out at 4:30 Wednesday morning. So I slept for 4 hours and wrenched on it almost up the whole time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday. And we had no major issues. 1,500 miles out there, and all the big block did was drink gas at 9 to 9.5 miles to the gallon. So it was an improvement. Last time we went with the carburetor on there, we got 8 miles to the gallon. So I think we used 320 gallons of gas this trip. Last time was 400 gallons. So, saved $300 in gasoline and spent $3,000 in parts. But you know what? That's the fun.
It is, and keep us honest, you would run a high octane in your rig, right?
No, that thing, it runs the cheapest thing I can get. I mean,
nice.
Unless we put a hot tune in it, and then we'll maybe put some 91 in it. But the Suburban, I run 93 in it. It pings and makes noises if you don't run high test in it. So
that's right. That's where I was getting confused, because with cruisers, you were rolling in the dirty burb. You know
dirty
what I mean?
burb's the word.
The burb is the word.
Yeah, it's sitting right back over here on the other side.
Yeah, and to move your head out of the way for a second, show us that new sign you got.
The Beaver Believer, we picked that up at Buc-ee's in Leeds, Alabama. They have a 5-foot-tall inflatable Bucky the Beaver that has his arms out like this, and you can put different signs in him. This one says Beaver Believer. They had congratulations. It's a boy, it's a girl, and you could probably make your own and have Bucky the Beaver hold it.
Yeah, real deal. Now, I can tell you this, leading up to the show, I mean, I don't want to say stressed, but, it had been 10 years since I took the truck out there, Kyle. And, I didn't really post a lot about I was going to take the truck. I had been working on it for some weeks, cleaning it and trying to kind of get it prepped to my standard. Obviously getting a lot of razz over the past couple of years about the wheels. So shout out to the big homie Vic, my brother from Severed, Florida, the president of Severed, Florida. He polished the back wheels for me. I polished the front. Of course, got the mother ball, a couple new ones of those, some new polish. And, of course, I used Griot's Garage. I want to give a huge shout-out to the team there. Used those detail products to clean the truck up. Don't have an enclosed trailer. I had one many, many years ago, so I knew that was going to be a little bit of a challenge, getting out there, hopefully without the inclement weather. But I tell you, man, when Mike pulled up, Kyle, that Wednesday about 11:30 planned time, and I checked the last thing off my long list that I had been working on 3 weeks. It felt good because I had things on there like bring a jack, bring the impact, bring all the sockets I need, check the tire pressure. I had 2 spares, thanks to Kirk from No Regrets. I used his trailer. He had 2 spares. I went through like a laundry list, and I tell you, it feels really good to over-prepare, I think, and not have an issue at all and say, wow, I spent an extra 20, 30 minutes. I'll take that any day versus being stranded on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Speaking of stranded on the side of the road, tell them the story that they may not even believe, Kyle.
Oh, about us being stranded on the side of the road?
Yes, sir.
Like I said, Crew Cab Karen back here at the big block did phenomenal on the way out there. We met up in Leeds, Alabama with our good buddy Rick Cheeseman from SQR BDY. Also, he runs the C10s in the City show. We usually cruise together at LST. Well, we had another guy tag along that met us at Leeds that I've never met before, and he was a mutual friend of one of ours. So he had a 72 Suburban with LS swap. So, we thought it was going to be okay, and it was not. He had some fuel problems. I think the tank was old and it was rusted out, so it clogged the fuel filter up. So we spent 6 hours on the side of the road, working on his truck for him, for a guy we never met. So, but once we got it fixed, he decided he was going to tow it back to Knoxville, and didn't go the rest of the way. Like, he was 5 hours outside of Conroe when he got towed back. So a little disappointed that we wasted 6 hours working on something. But you know what? Like, that's what it's all about. Like, he had his wife and his kids with us, so we weren't going to leave him on the side of the road. So, but I saw yesterday on his Instagram story he had it fixed and was out cruising. So, good for him.
Yeah, real deal. And I tell you, any time that you've been stranded on the side of the road on any road trip, I remember just even as a child having some car issues in the 90s. There was a famous Papa Smurf and myself and my sister, rest in peace to my dad and my sister, of course. But, we went to the Carolinas one year, and he had an 88 GMC Jimmy, and we just had, some weird issues, man. And back in those days, like, I wasn't, thanks, Andrew Pont. Love the hat. And, looking back at that time when we had the issues in the Carolinas, I really... This was right before the time I started wrenching on anything and kind of learned some of the things I learned. And, it's just it's a crappy feeling anytime, you've been stranded anywhere.
Yeah.
We were stranded a couple years ago, a tire issue, come to find out it was probably me, just, even though I didn't use the tires very often, they probably dry rotted over the course of time. And, it's like we dig ourselves our own hole sometimes, but I really tried to over-prepare this time and say, listen, I'm going out there. Mike is going to ride in my rig, my 2008 Duramax. And although it's considered a newer vehicle, I just really didn't want to have any issues. Kind of had a tight turnaround, as you sometimes and so many of you guys out there do. So all I can say is try to over-prepare, do the maintenance that you can, and, get through it.
I'm not going to lie. You caught me by surprise. I didn't know Bada Bing was going to show up at LST. I had no idea. When we talked for an hour and a half on the phone on, I guess, what was that, Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
I just thought it was just you and Mike in the truck, with the merch tent. And then when I pulled in, that's when I knew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, what I want to do, so I try not to forget some of this stuff, I'm going to share, if I can here. I had it all set up earlier. Definitely apologize. We got off to a little bit of a rocky start here trying to, and I know we do have some folks that have chimed in, so I certainly appreciate that. We're going to get this stuff ironed out, and it'll be a lot smoother going forward. Now, we won't do a live episode every time, but we wanted to show some solidarity, I guess is the word maybe, with LST, right? Because they're going through some things, and we'll talk about that. I know Ronnie, shout out to Ronnie at C10 Talk and Truck Talk Media, they went live last night and went over some things. So I swear I had this pulled up earlier, and I feel like I'm scrolling forever. I'm almost there. Right here. Okay. So this folder is going to be just some of the things I want to talk about. I want to go through. I'm not going to name every single person, but, hanging out with the Ciscos. If you don't know Brandon, he's the one that builds those crew cab C10s. He was on the Texas Metal episode where they took the blue truck and made it into a crew cab. Truly an amazing engineer. Of course, he's got a damn son hat on there, which is, kind of a nod to Ronnie.
Jay, I'm not going to lie to you, buddy. I'm not seeing it again. It's the O thing. I don't know if we can get somebody else to look and let us know if it's.
Yeah, can you guys see
well,
the
Matt
screen?
says he sees it, so I guess it's just on my side. Maybe it's the.
Okay, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah, Severed New York was there, so shout out to them. Chris, of course. Chris, I didn't realize he chimed in the other day. Chris Stone, I didn't realize he worked at Extensive, so he had a cool little story that he chimed in yesterday about rolling in Bill's dually back in the day, taking it to paint.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan Buchanan, I know this is OG Nelson RA from RA. He had a Mazda that was on the cover on that group photo that Courtney did at Texas Heatwave. He had the silver Mazda that had the graphics on the door panels. So we connected briefly now. This is going to be funny because, Kyle, I want to tell everyone this. So Bada Bing has been running flawlessly, okay? And Jimmy's running customs. They dialed this thing in a couple years ago. They did a big punch list, right? And when I drove over to judging, and I think when I went over some of first I drove down the back way, and there were the pillar or the orange deals, and I couldn't get around them, so I had to kind of come back, and it was kind of a little bumpy over there in the food section area. So I think what it did is it rattled a little bit, and my air cleaner, it dropped off, and it kind of fell like maybe 3 or 4 inches, right? So what happened is when I went to start the truck after leaving the judging lane, the truck was just conking out, and I was like, really? All this stuff, I haven't had any issues with the truck, now I'm having a hiccup here. And Kyle, you happened to be coming by at that same time.
Yeah, we were actually pulling in for the first time on Friday morning, and I saw Bada Bing, but I didn't see you. And that's when I saw you run up, and you were needing a tow. And so here we go. Let's see if I can get the video here.
And show up at LST, putting Karen to work out here, towing ODB.
And we lost me.
Night when I was closing the truck up, and he dropped out for a second, but hopefully he'll be right back. When I was closing the truck up, that's when I realized that the clasp or the whatever it's called, it must have been loose, and then the air filter fell just a little bit, so it didn't have the math in there. So when it kept conking out. So basically, I put that back on, put a zip tie. Of course, that's what many truckers do, and cranked the bad boy back up, and it was fine. It was good. Back in. Again, you got to just kind of bear with us. We're trying to move forward a little bit in the evolution of the OLP, and some of this is technology driven. And of course, we could just do audio, which I did for 8.5 years, but that's not fun.
I'm back. The Mac OS app. As soon as I tried to share the photos, that's when it died. So
okay,
I guess
but they did get to see it, and tell us about like what you were thinking. Like you were first thing as a content guy, you're like, man, I got to get this recorded because I need this for the archives.
Yeah, I was like, I need to record this because ODB is going to want to share this, and you didn't get any recording of it either. You forgot when we got done. It took probably 5 minutes to get us over there, and I said, "Did you get any video?" No, I forgot. So at least I got a little bit of it. But yeah, we got lucky too because Patrick, Mr. G's Classic Trucks, happened to be right out front there with his Gator or Mule side by side, whatever it was, and had a tow rope, and actually sent Chris back to the truck to go get the shackle. So we got really lucky that he was there at the same time that we needed to tow you.
Yeah, and what was ironic is, the Mac tie-down guy was like, man, it must be embarrassing. And I was like, man, he was kidding around, but I was like, not really. I'm like, it just is what it is. I'm out here to have fun, and shit's going to happen, and, it is what it is. But I'm going to go through these a little quicker. Shout out to Emma, of course, with Detroit Steel Wheel and Mob Steel. She's the creator behind everything behind the scenes. She does a great job, doesn't she, Kyle?
Oh, yeah. Emma's absolutely the best to work with. I've known Emma for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is now, and there's not a better person in the scene to work with when it comes to hanging out or doing anything else. Like, she was our Uber on, was it Friday or Saturday night? So yeah, like I gotta get up, like good wheels, and she's probably the one of the greatest photographers too for what she's doing out there, like shooting cars and trucks. So
yeah, you guys will know some of these faces. I'm going to kind of go through these a little bit quicker. Shout out to Patrick all the way from California. Here's Hank Norris. He wasn't talking much. He was kind of liquored up. It seemed like Brandon Burrell came by to check out the booth. You could see, obviously, street trucks that are pushing the limits on what they're doing. This is Brandon and Caitlin. Krogan, I believe is how you say the last name. They always come through. They always hang out. Nathan Buchanan. We took 2 different photos. This is the guy behind Sick Cars and Trucks, Sick Slam Trucks, as well as Sick Mini Trucks. And many of you that were at the show got a little sticker. Nathan's a good dude. He bought a Lincoln Addict sticker for me years ago, and we became friends because he's a Lincoln guy. Now, I know Anderpon is on. This is Michael Anderpon and Brian Ellis. They always come by and chop it up with us. And then I got to thank them again for this hat. What's cool is I got a little piece of Texas with me here to take home. And last year they told us about a good Italian restaurant. And Mr. Anderpon, I'm happy to say that we went back there again. And it was damn good. And it met the budget. You know, Kyle, how that's important, Kyle, because Mike's trying to go over budget wherever we go.
yeah, he probably just tries to get as much food at Buc-ee's when you guys roll out of there, and just take some beaver nuggets with him and eat those the whole time.
Yeah, he tried buying a $250 gift card. I go, Mike, I mean, but come on, dude. We're not going to see another Buc-ee's for like a couple months.
Yeah.
He's like, no. I just, I'm like, come on, Mike. What are you doing here? This is Don. He is the current, what I call, curator of Steel Flame. So Don's very clear. He didn't build the truck. We had Steve Platt on years ago. Steve built it. And this is the fourth, off the top of my head, the 4th mini truck on the cover of Street Trucks. That's Don, and it was super cool that he brought the truck out west from NC. This, for those that don't know, this is Car Shows with a Z, Jeff. I think his last name is, you can see he liked it, Cantagallo. I'm going to mess that up. I'm bad with names. He's the guy behind Car Shows with the Z, and they do all the exclusive photos.
Yeah, shout out to one of the guys from C10 Club Maryland. He also traveled down there with him too, and took some photos.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to stop here in just a minute, but this is Phil all the way from Canada. Phil, of course, builds all of the awards, and I have heard how much they spend on those awards. And I think it's truly amazing, Kyle, if you think about how much effort that they put into it. And I tell you what, we definitely need some more liquid deaths because, dude, I was guzzling those, Kyle. I really thought, like Hank thought I was liquored up because he saw, death on the can. But luckily, he didn't realize it was just water.
Do you know that Monster actually has the same type thing called tour water?
I don't know about that, man.
No,
I mean, I trust you, but I don't know if I want to try them.
It is. It's so if like years ago, they would have, like, say you would see like one of their persons they're sponsoring drinking a can of Monster after they just went and did some unrealistic, act, and their heart rate's 180 already. Well, it was actually Monster that was bottled in the water, and the bottom of it was written on their TW for tour water. And it's actually a thing now to where they bottle it and just water in a Monster container called tour water. And you can buy them on Amazon for like $20 for a case or whatever.
Kyle, you would never condone, though, drinking salt water, right? I mean, there was a rumor that that's all Hank drank for like 20 years, and he didn't realize that you're not supposed to drink that.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, Hank is a pretty healthy individual. So if it's working for him, maybe it's something we need to look into.
Dude, we've got to get the disclaimer up because, dude, if we don't get the disclaimer up at the beginning of the show, like, we could be getting in some trouble because, every word we're saying now is transcribed through this app. And with iOS 17.4, I think it's going to come out this week. They've already released the main candidate version. I think it's going to come out. They're also, all of the podcasts, I don't know if you know this, are going to be transcribed. Mm-hmm. So I told Mike he's got to watch his words because a lot of times Mike, I think, is trying to kind of talk in code and stuff. And I was like, Mike, I can't get, into any of the shenanigans like Michael knows. Dude, Hank's crazy. And with Mike trying to kind of talk in carny sometimes and stuff, I mean, dude, he gets me spun out.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see the release notes when I was reading the Mac rumors today about 17.4, so it's interesting you brought that up.
Oh, yeah. Now, I want to jump back in here, so we'll think of some more stories that we want to hit upon really quick, because I know we're getting to some good ones. So this is Chris. If you guys follow Louisiana Classics, Chris with a K, he's a good dude. This four-door is called Rose, so it's always cool. He hooked me up with some brewskis. Ironically enough, they're out of date, but they have a car on them, so they are for display. Someone saw me with those. They go, man, he's back drinking again. I go, nah, not yet. I'm waiting for the right time.
Is it 13 months now? 14 months? Where are we at?
Yeah, 14 months.
Good.
Yep. So we'll see how far it goes. Maybe forever. We'll have to see. But Jenna Lease, she took home our contributor of the year. This is Grant Cox. For those that don't know, Grant came by. He's been in the scene a long time. He's a photographer, which is cool. And then we got Matt on, dude. Here's crazy Matt. And Kyle, I don't know if you heard the whole story. He saw me with the In-N-Out Burger hat on, and he almost tackled me at Lone Star Throwdown. He goes, man, I thought I got you that Whataburger hat, man. I told you not to come in the state of Texas with the In-N-Out Burger. You're going to get, taken out. And, of course, I had to calm him down and say, hey, I got my new pink hat right here. And, Matt, I love it. And I don't think I told Matt, I got a ton of compliments on that pink hat all weekend, dude. The ladies especially, and even some of the dudes were like, damn, that's fire.
You even had some sweet socks on, too, I saw.
Oh, yeah. So, Matt, dude, the hat. And Anderpont knows how much, hats mean to us. I'm a big hat guy. Shout out to my friends, the Raddies. I rock their hats, too. There's a lot of good people out there, and I tell you, this is one of my favorite hats, too, that I got on. Of course, Matt, he's a good player, man. He came by, we chopped it up almost as much as we hung out with Anderpont, and it was a good time. Diggity Dom and DJ Mays, you got a chance to slap hands with them in the past, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I met him at the first annual Eastbound Get Down show.
Hey, not the inaugural.
No, this is the first annual.
Yep. This is Stacy from, this is Subculture. Then we got Stacy from Sketchies. Good dude, old school BMX guy, and we just had a lot of good conversations. Now, this is ironic. I want to share this with you. So Marlon built the Nissan Frontier that was on the cover early 2000s. It was like Dort. So we're sitting over there, and this guy somehow we just said hello, and this guy's name was Fito, F-I-T-O. And he goes, oh, I came over here to check out the Severed rides and blah, 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 right? So he goes on to tell us, Kyle, that he was the chapter rep for the Palm Springs chapter back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And he moved out of California years ago, and he lives in Texas now. He just happened to come to the show, and he wanted to go see the Severed Ties rides because he was an old member. And we said, let's take a photo, and there you go. Now we're talking about it.
Dude, that's awesome, yeah.
Now, do you see the bada bing back here? And I'm wondering if I could do, something with, with the water company and maybe do a bada bing version. You know what I mean?
If the Liquid Death won't, we could probably get Monster on board for the tour water.
There you go. Neil, always good homie. Brian from Grindr. C10 Vatos, for those that don't know, this is Morgan. This is Joe's better half from C10 Vatos. There's, of course, the OG Joe. He's one of the old school Severed members. Rob Rodell and his son. I'll go through these a little quicker. Jake, there's Phil, Blaine, a bunch of the Severed folks, Tracy, Michelle. She has the badass Tahoe, and her husband's truck was the OBS that was in the Alamo Customs area with that crazy interior by, I think it's TMI. We got Gauge Magazine. There's another photo of Grant. There's the hat,
yeah.
So want to give a huge shout out to Trip at Freaking Weekend. Again, that show, first annual last year, a.k.a. inaugural. And this year's going to be the second year, and I think it's going to be off the charts. So we'll be out there third weekend in September. There's, of course, Matt again. We had to make a couple photos with the big homie, some good kinfolk. Do you know this guy?
That's Robbie. But if you want to go back to the one before,
do you know them?
Yeah, we met them at SEMA.
Yep. You
daughter,
remember that? And the cool thing was he was a super cool dude. I think does he have an OBS?
He did. I think it was a crew cab, wasn't it? Was it a dually he was telling us about?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember, but dude, they were super cool. And this is the cool thing. A lot of times, like we'll be talking, and I'll just say, "Hey, let's take a photo." And I remember the name or the face.
His truck, his 16-year-old daughter built the truck.
That's what it was. Yeah,
yep.
That's where we were talking about it, and I couldn't believe it, dude.
Yep.
I was thinking at 16, man, I was trying to get like the new Snoop Dogg tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so United by Trucks, I love their YouTube channel. You know, I know many of you guys are mini truckers, but you know, I really get down with his positive stuff. There's Emma again, Randy, of course, with Two Ballistic, Macy, I'm messing this up. I'm gonna mess it up. Gracie May and Eddie. I always want to say that backwards. There's Daryl, Chris again. So I know I'm getting some people saying that the link is no good from Canada. This was cool. This was Dane. He came by. Solomon, Joe. I don't know if this is the Joe that chimed in a minute ago. Joe from No Regrets. He built the truck that Waka has, the Toyota with the awesome interior. Tom Jenkins and Limelight. Of course, Not Stock Photography. This was Naomi's father, and you guys had a good chat, right, Kyle?
Yeah, man, that guy was awesome. So he stood and talked to us for probably an hour and a half about this camper, and he started building campers. Well, when he's 5 or 6 years old, his dad had a camper business way back in the 50s and 60s, and he knew all kinds of details. He's like, Larry Weeks built that camper between 1970 and 72 because I know by the window right there on the side, he knew everything about it. Matter of fact, he actually adjusted the rear doors in the windows and everything for us. Like, it was really cool to get to talk to him, and he did put the rumors to rest. It is called a camper. It's not a topper,
dude,
or a shell, or it's a camper.
He was such a good guy, and you know, I didn't want to offer to arm wrestle him because Hank was over there, but I thought we could do like an over the top deal. And dude, if I feel like, bro, like that day with enough liquid deaths, I could have maybe done that. You know what I mean?
I don't know. He seemed like a tough guy. He was telling us about how when he was like 12 years old, he'd come home from school and he had a pouch full of screws, and he would stick his hands in there and get the screws, and they would stick to his hands, and that's how he'd put the shells together.
Yeah, he was a super nice guy, and I tell you, every time I was talking to him for that long conversation I had, he just talked about, you know, the resilience of Americans, you know, over all these years, you know, working hard, having the work ethic. I think he talked about his dad or grandfather almost working till he died, you know, with a pick, having to do like pick and rock type stuff, you know, just crazy. And it just shows the resilience of folks. Now we might have a guest join us here in just a minute. We'll have to see. I'm going to try to get through the rest of these kind of quick because I know not everybody wants to hear all my stories, but let's see here. We'll go through these, see how many more we have left. Reina Brothers, shout out to them. The big homie was all the way from Japan, so local finesse, real cool. There's Chris again. I forget this gentleman's name and this guy, but they came by. Old school mini truckers, good people. Todd from Canada, Stuart from KIK, Jared, 1/3 of the team. A couple more photos here. Good kinfolk, some old school guys. And
we got more visitors here showing up late night here.
Yeah.
We got
okay.
What's up, man?
We're doing it live on a podcast right now. Welcome.
Okay, great.
Neighbors
okay,
here.
Let's see.
What's up?
This is Cody.
Hey, what's going down?
He's got a couple of square bodies across the street. So.
Yeah, so those were a couple of the cool things that I know, and we'll talk about Solomon too, kind of get on the way home in just a moment. But I'll tell you, I was overwhelmed. I wanted to go see more. Like you came up to me, Kyle, when you go, yo, Jay, I know you love you some Beltec. I hate to say this, dude. I never even made it to the booth. I know you were able to pick up some posters, dude. I know, bro. Don't kill me.
Man, like they had all the posters that you were supposed to be smuggling back from SEMA.
Dude, I tell you, I felt like I walked around one complete time, and I started snaking back that one corner where it's usually in some pockets of emptiness. And dude, everything was packed. I mean, people were grilling, which is super cool. If you have a fire extinguisher, you can grill there. And there was so much stuff. Like, bro, I look back at some of the other people's show coverage, and I spent, if you guys know me, I go around there like an animal running through there trying to get everything I can, and there were tons of stuff I just did not even get footage of. And I hate to say that because you're thinking, hey man, you got there Thursday, you had all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and you know, trying to help Mike and do the thing and doing everything I can. I did the best I could.
I went back through my photo roll, and I think I took 3 or 4 photos and like a bunch of videos, but I like no photos. Like it's crazy this year.
Show us a couple more. Do you mind showing us a few things? Because I was sharing my
Let's
screen.
see what I just switched it back.
Oh, that's right.
To the
'cause we don't
browser, so I don't know if it's going to share or not. Let me see what it does.
We don't want you to circuit breaker us here. You know what I'm saying?
Um,
Now, while he's doing that, I know Michael had mentioned, Solomon. Now, so get this. What I had heard is Solomon did have an issue with his truck, right? Gold dust, I believe he refers to it as.
Yep.
And I think it was you that told me what ended up happening.
It was the transfer case. So the 12 valve is completely built, and the transmission, the Allison's completely built, but he was still running a stock transfer case, and that's what let go.
And what happened? The company said,
Yeah,
hey,
the guy that built the trans sent a truck and trailer from Florida to where was it, Beaumont, Texas, I believe, like right near the border, and they came and picked him up and towed him all the way back to Florida.
Yeah, that's dedication. And I tell you, man, he's had some hiccups in the truck, but if there's a resilient dude out there, you may all not know Solomon, but that guy is like the most positive dude to have hiccups and still get through it. What about Port Arthur? Some PA, some UGK in the house. RIP Pimp C. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get this to see if the photos. Well, I don't think it's going to work on the browser for me. No, it just keeps going back. So
let's wrap up this segment in just a moment. But tell us what are a couple, like if you had like maybe one or two key, besides the bada bing, getting the toe, because I know that's going to go down as one of your lifelong, awesomeness things. What's one or two good memories?
Man, so LST is always about we got Scotty the Body joining us.
What's going on, player?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get a hat? Remember we were asking about the hats.
Finish your thought, and then we'll get Scotty in here
Okay,
in a second.
so I usually look forward to, as dumb as it sounds, the 1,500-mile road trip out there with my friends. Like,
no, I'm just kidding.
Like the last couple times, there's been 2 or 3 of us in a truck, and it's 24 hours, but just sitting there in a truck talking that's probably the most fun. And then getting out there and seeing everybody that you don't see from the West Coast, that we're meeting in Texas, is the other part. And then In-N-Out Burger, that's worth 24-hour drive.
Oh, hold on, Matt's still on. I thought we said we can't say that until Matt drops off.
Well, Whataburger has good breakfast. I'll give them that. Burgers are trash.
Dude, you are going to cause, hopefully at LST 2025, you're going to cause Top Ropes deal. Speaking of Top Ropes, we got Skiz, Adi the Biz. Adi, you coming in with the Twiz on 4-inch pythons?
That's right. We're going in. We're just going hard. What's going on with you fellas?
Not much, and he came at the right time because I was just asking Kyle what his favorite moment, maybe 1 or 2 moments. You didn't get to see Bada being towed behind the C20, but what are a couple good moments that you and Jen Elise had out there, Scott?
Oh man, it was an awesome time. I had a blast. We got to go to Rudy's. We got to go to what was the name of the pizza place you guys took us to? Or you told us about?
And we got Anderpon on. He's the one that told us about it last year. I'm drawing a blank on the name. It's got the murals on the side.
It's like Joe's or something, or some pizza place like that.
Joe's.
I think it's Joe's. But yeah,
he just chimed in. Yep, it's Joe's, and it was really good food.
And getting to bring out the I think probably one of the highlights was having Mini Truckin' Magazine back.
Oh, yeah. And that's something we didn't talk about, Kyle. So for those that don't know, we got the call. And Hammered Weekend Wear and OLP, we had to sanction if we could give a little bit of our space. And they were able to work it all out through Lone Star. That's all through them. And we, of course, said heck to the yeah. So DJ Mays and crew were out there slinging, Justin as well, were slinging the hats, the stickers, the banners, but also they were doing the signups for the website. And Scott, I think you saw it earlier today. They hit 1,500 plus subscriptions, and I think this is the last week. And I can't say enough good stuff about the fact that they're keeping everybody in the loop, right? They're not just taking your money and going, okay, what's going on? They're talking about test prints real soon, and then the first issue coming out like in the next month or so. So, Kyle, you can imagine us as mini truckers like the Bible, just like, maybe the C10 Builder's Guide is to you guys.
Yeah, I saw the post today about the 1,500. Like it's pretty dope. Like it's going to be coming out soon, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I know when we first heard about it, it's been a year now, I guess, since the breaking news came out.
Yep.
But like, once it's in your hand, that's when it's going to be like the real deal.
Yeah, and Scotty the Body, everyone needs to go to minitruckandbag.net, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Now, you and I were comparing notes because, you know, we get on a call for a couple hours and we start printing out everything and highlighting everything. We went through all of the winners for every award. We were checking the names. I mean, we don't have to do this stuff, Scott, but we do. I mean, this is the stuff we do every time. And I think by your calculation, you were able to fit. I think I was in on the conversation. We were able to figure out that only a couple mini trucks really got a top 100 outside of the top 10.
Yeah, initially looking at it, I thought there was only one, but then turns out I just, I didn't see a lot of stuff that stuck out. There was a few Blazers that I overlooked that were S10 Blazers. I figured they were C10 Blazers,
Right.
in typical fashion. So, there was a Toyota, there was that body Blazer.
The Nissan body Ellis's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was quite a bit.
Oh, Bill from FFF, I think is Matt saying maybe he won that Tacoma, the white one possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were.
Maybe.
Yeah, so we got to go back and check your work. I mean, Scott, we've got your binder over here, and we have to kind of go back and check these tick marks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think somebody just posted up and said silver body Blazer.
Well, Jenny,
I
you
think
can watch out. We can see her in the mirror. she ain't crazy back there.
She didn't know it was going to be video time, and I didn't either until we signed up. I was like, "Oh, we're doing video, huh?"
Yep.
Oh, I clicked the wrong link.
Yep. Now, did Kyle show you? Did you get to see his new banner in the back? If he moves his head again, he's got the Beaver Believer, and I'm thinking if we could somehow get that, strung up in the Mazda, there's a possibility at Mini Nats you could get some more points.
Whew. I'm not sure I'm going to be allowed to put anything Beaver related on the Mazda.
What is it, a marsupial or a Homo sapien, or what do you call those things? Mammal?
I don't know. Don't they eat wood? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that.
We're going off the rails.
So check this out. So post LST, DJ Mays had texted me maybe Tuesday. Now, I was kind of detoxing because I got home. Luckily, I got home about 11:30 a.m. Monday morning. Mike had another 3-hour drive, so I kind of was like, okay, I gotta like unpack everything and just kind of detox and get back to work on Tuesday. So I didn't see any of the stuff. Now, did Kyle? Do you remember when all of the stuff started kind of breaking on social media? Did you see anything early on where there were the talks of these kind of get-togethers, takeovers, whatever you want to call them, meetups?
I don't think. I think it was more Monday evening, Tuesday morning, right? Is that when we started? Because I remember I called you about it, and maybe it was Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, and it maybe broke Monday, like Matt's saying. And, just for anybody that doesn't know, that may not be on social media much, basically, the synopsis that I have, and Kyle, I know you were able to watch the live stream, Truck Talk Media last night, as well as Lonnie, and I think Radar both were able to kind of join in with Ronnie. But basically, there was something that happened at a parking lot, and some shenanigans must have went down, whether it be burnouts, maybe some signs missing, some destruction of property. And it seemed like, bottom line is, that really steamrolled. You had a lot of people rushing the judgment, possibly saying, hey, the show's canceled, this and that. I could imagine if I was the show goer or the show owner, I would want to be very cautious on when I start saying, okay, the show's canceled and things like that. So I think they kind of handled it with kid gloves. They had a couple of posts from the official Facebook page of Lone Star Throwdown. So that's kind of what I referenced in my Substack post. If you guys want to check that out, you can look up ODB's Life on Substack. But Kyle, what would you say based upon what you heard last night? What's the issue, the crux or whatever?
So what it comes down to is there was a Kroger parking lot takeover, and it wasn't in Conroe. I believe it was Shenandoah, and that's 15, 20 minutes south, Woodlands area, and basically their police department or their jurisdiction, whatever, wasn't staffed or prepared for the influx of the amount of people. And I guess once they showed up there, that there was hundreds of trucks and people, and it was just well out of hand.
Yeah, and Scott, did you start seeing stuff early, like what Matt's saying, like kind of on Monday, Tuesday? What were your thoughts when you started seeing, this? Because I was at the show, as you were, and I was like, we didn't see any issues there.
No, I mean, there was no issues at the show. I think, that stuff always kind of happens. It's just not always to that extent, I think. And when you have a big event like that, you get a lot of influx of people that don't really have stuff, but they still show up. And, kind of like your buddy Lee always says, the skitter jiggy, home crowd people show up with their 78 beat Firebirds and want to do burnouts down the strip at mini nets, So, I don't know if Hank Norris was out there messing stuff up or what, or if he started it, but I heard he wasn't there.
Yeah, I heard he has settled down a little bit, and he does try to stop the violence. He's big on that now.
Yeah, the good thing is Lonnie was actually working with the Kroger company and going through surveillance video and the police body cam, and most of it, the participants that were there didn't have wristbands on from the show. So there was a few people from the show there. They could figure that out by window stickers and registration numbers and then the wristbands. But they weren't the ones doing the destruction of property. It seems like it was, people that showed up for the show or the takeover, I guess, weren't the ones that came to LST.
Yeah, and Precision, the weather stripping company, had posted on Instagram, like a lot of folks did. They said, we stand with LST. And I was glad to see such solidarity with that message, right? It was resounding through the whole entire scene. But I saw some comments that were like, man, it must not have been the locals. People know you don't mess with Montgomery County, right? And I'm thinking to myself, we've seen this in different states. We have our share of, we had the Daytona truck meet, whatever the hell it was called. And, even after they moved out to Miami, I think Scott or somebody was telling me, it was a lot of people still showed up in Daytona that next year because they're like, hey, we want to go somewhere to cause havoc. So to me, I thought it was a rush to judgment for people or anyone to go, I mean, even the county or whoever, wherever it kind of sparked to say, hey, we're thinking about canceling the show. They're not going to be able to have it because I'm thinking to myself, hold on, let's digest this a minute. Just because a fire starts over here and it has nothing to do with these guys and what they're doing, their business, but it's frustrating. But I think you also said, Kyle, you work in the public safety kind of sector in different facets, right? So I think one of the key things that you mentioned is I didn't think about, even though I was staying in the Woodlands about 15, 20 minutes away, there's technically different jurisdictions. So you could have this jurisdiction that was like, hey, we were good, we were staffed, we had people, but the Kroger's over here in this other jurisdiction, they're like, man, we didn't even know about LST.
Yeah, I think that's what tomorrow's meeting with HSI or Homeland Security is going to come down to, is more information sharing for the different jurisdictions. And Lonnie and Radar and Jared and those guys, they're all about helping them and getting the word out. But, I would think 30 minutes away is probably the max where people are going to travel outside the show to go to dinner or go to whatever else is happening. I think if they go, a 30-minute radius by travel, then that would probably help, to get those jurisdictions involved.
Yeah, what did you think, Scott, when you were hearing this news? Like, I mean, could you even believe that LST, there would ever be a chance that it would be canceled?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't get canceled. It's one of those things, it's like an attractive nuisance, right? So you have something cool and everybody wants to come and hang out, and then, stuff happens afterwards. And, I don't think they should get blamed for it. I mean, they definitely stole their logo and put it all over everything that they did. And that's probably part of the biggest thing, that it looked like LST put that stuff on, but they didn't.
Yeah, Hank one time stole Angela White's logo and said that was his girlfriend. Do you think that really became his girlfriend? I mean,
he was the boss?
Yeah, everyone's got Photoshop now or some app. I mean, I don't even use Photoshop. I got this one little app that does it all, man.
Yeah, and plus last night from their stream, they were saying, they know at some point that one day there's not going to be an LST anymore, and they didn't think it would go down this way. They said they figured people would just stop showing up, and it'd just be, Lonnie and Radar and Jared just sitting there in chairs, and that would be the end of it. Nobody else would just stop coming. Not that they'd be forcefully, made to, not have a show anymore.
I would really hope, and Radar knows this, that I love the meme of him and Lonnie as the two guys from Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
I really wish I don't want there to be a remake, but I want them to like somehow be a part of like maybe an ensemble cast, dude, because they make out, they really look like those guys. I think it's awesome. They're good people. Hardworking people. So here's the thing. Ruben wasn't able to join us. He reminded me recently that an Arizona show, I mean, a ton of the West Coast shows, right, have come and gone, unfortunately, but he reminded me of a show, I think, on a river run that was canceled, something that didn't happen with the show. I mean, it was maybe on the campsite, but it had nothing to do with the show. That comes to mind. I'm sure you guys could even chime in with some potential shows. Showfest, right? So my son was born October 2005. Showfest comes around for 06. I'm like, hey, he's still an infant. I'm not going to go. I had to win all those years in a row. And that was the year that all hell broke loose. I wasn't there, but I can tell you it had to have been bad. And if you think about this for a second, I always reinforce this. I love Showfest. That money went to the burn victims of that area. So Kyle, I know this is near and dear to your heart as a fireman, right? They took all the proceeds and they said, hey, we're going to donate this to a burn victim unit somewhere in that state or that county. That was for a great cause. And you could say, wow, this is an amazing thing for our community. And it still gets screwed up. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we talked the other day about how much money that is getting invested in Conroe and Montgomery County from, Airbnbs, motel rooms, the food, the fuel that you're filling up with when you're going home. Like, we're talking millions of dollars that community is going to lose out on because a couple bad apples went to a Kroger parking lot. That doesn't sit well with me, but maybe there is an ulterior motive that, maybe somebody wants to throw a farm show the last weekend in February, and this is their way to push the agenda. I don't know. I'm just, speculating.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. And Scott, hey, you give us the final word. LST 2025. If you were a betting man, I know Hank will go, 100 all in on black. But if you were a betting man, please give me, the barometer. What's your feeling for 2025?
I think it's going to be, if it happens, I think it'll be a good thing. I think, we'll get it all done. They'll get Lonnie and Radar will get it squared away. They'll get it handled. Homeland Security is coming in to save the day. So, I mean, the government's going to definitely step in and make everything happen, right? So, as long as they can be prepared, nobody really got hurt, nothing happened on property, I think they'll probably be able to squeeze it out and come back in, and everybody will be able to have a good time and do what we do, and maybe they'll catch those guys next year doing it while they're doing it.
Right, Kyle, we just need, you remember in the Ice Cube song, a lot of people don't know, today was a good day, didn't even see a Barry flashing those high beams. That was, a lot of people, they have a different interpretation of that, but that's really a nod to, didn't see the cops coming, right? I mean, Barry could be Mayberry, and that type of thing. But that's the bottom line. Many truckers, we don't want to see the Barrys flashing the high beams, do we? No. Kyle's like, man, I was just trying to understand. Wait, we're talking about today was a good day, right?
Today was a good day.
I know you're probably getting tired. No rave lights. I like it. There's a lot more to talk about potentially with LST, but I will tell you this, LoneStarThrowdown.com, if all goes as we believe that Lonnie and Radar can pull this off, their pre-registration will open. I think it's on 8/1. We'll, of course, get the countdown timer going, but I want to remind people that Classic Truck Throwdown is that last weekend in June that trickles over to July 1st. So same bat time, same bat channel, maybe not the same date, but the same venue. And Kyle, you got confirmation. You heard last night that is still a go.
Yeah, that's still going. I think that's kind of, that's gonna be like the probation, if you will. Like if everything goes well for the classic truck show, then maybe they'll let them sign the contract after that. So we might, tomorrow night this time we might know an answer, or we might not. We might not know until the 4th of July. It's hard to say.
Yeah. The bottom line is, I will tell you this, man. We're all getting older. No one wants to play the dad. I get it. But I've been at shows before, and I wrote this on my Substack. I've been at shows before, and I have had to shut a couple people down, whether not necessarily a club mate. We were at Toledo at the park one year, and there was a guy, there was an accident that happened right outside the show, so it caused the influx, huge backup. There was a guy that started revving his car, like, uncontrollably. Like, people were standing 2, 5, 10 feet away, and we eventually were able to course this guy, put the truck or a car in park, get out of the truck, let his girlfriend get in. He was like one of these people that drink heavily, but, you can't tell him anything. And, he didn't want to hear that his girl was going to be driving the car. He wanted to drive it out of there. But, to me, it's like we're all at an age now where we should be able to intervene on stuff. I mean, listen, I don't want to get involved in people's personal problems. Nobody does. I think, for the most part, it's like I kind of keep to my own. But if I'm at a show and I see the homies or someone that are acting a fool, I'm going to tell them right now, hey, man, you need to calm down because you're going to cause an issue. We saw this at Trucks and Cheeseburgers last year. I don't know the full details, but I think, there was someone leaving that day. It was a Sunday, and it was I think a lifted truck, right, Scott? And they did burnouts, and they tore up the grass, so the guy loses his security deposit. I mean, listen, it's America. We all love a good burnout. Who doesn't? But I think there's a time and place for it, and we all know. We've learned one thing at Mini Nats last year, right? Tie your tents down. Okay, we all know that now. I think we learned our lesson. Okay, the other lesson that we've learned is, listen, at a show, do not be doing burnouts. Okay, do not be doing stupid shit or in parking lots. The last thing I'll tell you is there's going to be more coming on this for Mini Nats, but I talked to Jay Bell, and I want to double check to make sure there's no new ordinances that are going to be in effect in Maggie Valley. If there are, I know these takeovers are kind of taking over the country, right? They started, if you read my Substack, they started in the 80s with Oakland, California, with the sideshows, and they've gotten totally out of hand, and they've spread like wildfire. And what I want to make sure is some of these jurisdictions are starting to implement new ordinances where they say, if you do a burnout, we can impound your car. So just know over the next 6 weeks or so, I'm going to try to get the word out. And if there's anything that we need to know about Maggie Valley, I want to make sure everybody knows, because I don't want to see anybody getting tickets. I don't want to see anybody having any issues. It's the 30th annual, Scott, so we're all excited about it.
That's what they did here in Maryland. The H2O show in Ocean City was Audis and VWs years ago, and the crowd just got so out of hand that the city actually enacted their own fines and schedules of that. If your car comes in and the exhaust is too loud, it's gonna get towed, and it's like $900 to get your car out of towed, and then you have to pay it to get towed out of the city also. Like, guys were saying that if they went to Ocean City that weekend, it was costing almost $2,500 for a fix-it ticket, basically, to get your car out. Like, I don't go over there because of that reason.
And nobody wants that. The mini truckers, there's tons of stories from the 90s of people getting, tickets, and there's still issues. I mean, SEMA fights against all that, right? They don't want to say, hey, you can't modify your car. You can't do this. I know there's some things we don't like, the squatted trucks and things like that. But no one wants to be told what they can and can't do. But I think someone just said it in here, right? Local rides. Shout out, Bill. Love local rides, Mag. People just need to respect the town. And at the end of the day, if it's not your property or you haven't been sanctioned to come to said event and do a burnout or do whatever you're doing or steal signs or do any of that, I mean, it's just dumb. There's no way you can slice and dice it that it's a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, the technology too. There's got to be videos, and somebody's going to get identified, and hopefully they take the fall for it. They need to own up to it that they're the ones who screwed up, and point the finger at them and let everybody else have their show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not like the dumb stuff we used to do in the 90s. We'd get away with it because there was no proof.
Yeah.
Right.
Now everybody's watching.
Yep.
So Mini Nats, I think, will be good. They did get a new sheriff, but I think he worked under the old sheriff is what I was told. So as long as, the state doesn't come in and, I guess they have a big new rule about impeding traffic and doing burnouts and stopping traffic, kind of like a takeover type thing. It's what it's designed for. That could be a problem because we're stop and go, but that's just because there's too much traffic, not because anybody's stopping traffic on purpose.
Yeah, we're going to get Jay Bell on soon, hopefully the next episode, to talk a little bit about that. Because, again, when I talked with him at that Rudy's dinner that we had, I want to be ultra clear. And, again, being that we had this big decision coming for Lone Star Throwdown, we want to make sure that we're not negatively doing anything. The good thing is, I think we've been told in the past, like with Maggie Valley, you can drag your truck, you can do those type of things, which is super cool. Not all jurisdictions are going to allow that. So I think it's fantastic. Guys, any last comments on Lone Star Throwdown before we wrap up the topic?
I think that they were saying yesterday you could email a letter of recommendation to lonestarthrowdown@gmail.com, I think is what it is, and they're going to submit all those letters to the county, the council, or whoever is involved. So if people want to, put their name out there and give, their 2 cents on, what can be done to make the show safer, better, or, any of that, then they're looking for that too.
Yeah, Scott was on artificial intelligence earlier. Apparently, he sent 1,000 letters over AI. He was talking to, what were you talking to, Siri or Alexi, something like that?
Alexio. It was the
Alexio.
Spanish version.
She was the one that asked to be your friend on Instagram. She has 0 followers, but she wants to be your friend.
Yeah, and she crashed Facebook this morning.
Yeah, I
and
sent her money
Instagram,
to fix my
I thought
Facebook.
that was Matt Stone on there looking at something crazy.
No, it was me. She wanted me to be her friend and do some, take pictures with my truck, and then she wanted to do a cartoon of my truck, and I'm like, nope, it's not happening.
I was telling my wife, I said, look, this girl, she wants to be my friend. She has 0 followers from Russia. Should I follow her? She's like, oh, yeah, I'm sure she'd follow that one right away. General updates brought to you by Lone Star Throwdown. Of course, we were talking about it, LoneStarThrowdown.com. If you've never been, you have to go. It's an amazing show. I want to give a huge shout out. Radar always says bring more mini trucks. I went around the show. I took a lot of video. I haven't posted it all, and a lot of photos. There were a ton of mini trucks there. I don't care what anyone says. If you really went around like I did, I was able to put eyes on every mini truck there. I wasn't able to get completely over and take a video of everyone, but I'll tell you this, there were a good bit there. They really brought the quality. Eddie Gordy, Daryl Poe, so many good people. Tom Jenkins had Limelight out there. So thank you to everybody that brought, including Scotty the Body with the Mazda. You got a top 100, so congratulations. Very nice, very nice.
Thank you, very nice, very nice.
With the V8 LS
V8,
motor.
yeah.
V8,
No
truck
turbos.
for life.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Michael. And thanks, Matt. Okay, so I want to start wrapping this show up in just a minute, but I do want to, Scott, you're welcome to stay on if you want. If you got to roll, we totally understand. We know you got to start hitting the gym because you start going around this time every night. Next, we got the trivia. We got the trivia with not Mike, but Kyle this week. Brought to you by Southeast Mini Trucking Nationals, aka Mini Nats. Will be out there in about 6 weeks. And don't forget, those tickets were just sent out. So if you did get one of the coveted golden tickets, make sure you be very careful with that ticket. Put it maybe in your glove box of the vehicle that you're bringing. That way you don't forget it. And definitely, make sure you keep your hands on that. So, Scott, don't chime in if you know this one, because Kyle may not. Kyle's a little younger than we are, because I know you're pushing like 55, Scott. Kyle's a little younger than we are.
Yeah.
But so Kyle,
I gotta go.
in the see you, man. In the famous 1980s commercial, what was declared as the best part of waking up?
Is it Folgers in your cup?
Dude,
Oh,
man,
very
I
nice.
got it. Dude, so you know you're old if you know that one.
Man,
Too easy, yep.
I don't even drink
know.
coffee, and I knew that one.
Dude, you know what made me think? So here's the only reason why I thought of that one the other day. I've got an old Folgers can out there with some nuts and bolts. Remember that, Kyle? I don't think young kids will understand that today. We used to take those little metal tins, and that became a thing to put bolts in. Do you still do that, or do you have all plastic butter ones?
I have this giant cart right over here that has everything in it.
Yeah. Scott, did you know that one?
I did know that one.
So here's the real question. Is that really the best part of waking up?
The waking up is the best part of waking up.
There you go, man. There you go.
And
So
especially when you're 55, right?
now you got to understand that was written for Mike, and we all, let's be honest, we know Mike wouldn't have got it. Kyle's on a different level than Mike Murray. Let's be honest. The plastic ones are still good, Matt. Again, the trivia with Kyle this week is brought to you by Mini Nats. Will be out there. If you don't have a ticket, fear not. Come out to Maggie Valley. You've got the Wheels in Time or Wheels Through Time Motorcycle Museum and so much more to do in Maggie Valley. We'll be out there early doing the damn thing. Scott and Jenelise, you guys are going to be there early.
Yeah, we'll be there on Saturday. So we'll get
Saturday the week before.
Man, it's a full week.
Saturday the week. Saturday, we're there for the whole week. This is the second time I think we've been there for the whole week, maybe third. It's nice. You get there early. You can get to all the restaurants you can't get to Mini Nats weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
You get to eat everywhere. You get to try all the food, and it's a good time. It's quiet. We run the minis all weekend. You'll be seeing the Mazda and the Tracker all weekend, all week.
Dude, I love it. Okay, so we gotta start moving through this a little quicker. The scene updates. I just want to reinforce pre-reg open for last resort.
I'm gonna let you guys go because I gotta eat some dinner.
See you. Tell Jenelise we said what up, and tell her to work on that song for Mike and I. Opposites attract. You know what I mean?
It's done. It's done. We just gotta produce it.
Let's cut the record.
All right.
Tell her, say hello. Okay.
See you, Scotty.
Will do. See you later.
So the scene update. So these are two quick ones because I didn't write down a lot this week. You got the pre-reg open for Last Resort, which is October 18th through the 20th, my son's birthday weekend. Jennings, Louisiana. You can go to Last Resort on Facebook or Instagram for information. The Oregon's new main event had to be canceled. That was coming up, I think, in August, technically. So that was unfortunate. I think it was going to be August, but they posted that, and I wanted to mention that. Now, we do have Bill on from Local Rides, so I want to reinforce we are a partner with Local Rides Mag. You can go to Local Rides with the Z magazine, and you can order, or just Google. I mean, most people don't even go to websites anymore. That's Local Rides with the Z magazine spelled out.com. And when you go there, you'll see magazines as low as about $10 or $11. They have a few on sale for $9. And what I can do really quick is just show you guys this awesomeness. And if you go out here, you'll see again, they've got a bunch of different issues. Anchors Away is one of my favorite ones. And the cool thing is, this is a homegrown magazine. We've seen a little bit of this in the scene over the past 20 years. But in my opinion, we haven't seen this level of quality or commitment to a homegrown publication. So I want to give a huge shout out. Bill's on now, but also check out, if you can, Local Rides with a Z magazine.com and get an issue. Just buy one and check it out. You can also get the subscription. They do have those on sale. Kyle, next we got ODB Live and Uncut. I just want to remind people, again, I know we had a little bit of a hiccup with the live stream. I'm going to try to get that ironed out. I started with one live stream product. Now I went to a different one. But bottom line is, if you can follow us on YouTube, we really appreciate it. These video episodes will also be there. And fear not, every week we're not going to go live, but Kyle really linked up and said, hey, ODB, let's go live kind of in solidarity with LST. Let's show them some love. Let's get the good people riled up about LST 2025. We're confident that it's going to be back. So I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. Hopefully people are watching this and can support those guys on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. ODB Live in a Cut brought to you by Colorado Custom Wheels, the best in billet wheels, Colorado Custom with no S.com. Last couple things, Mini Truck and Syndicate updates. I want to say congrats to Bobby Arkwright. You know you're old school when you're having a grandbaby. Congratulations. Love Bobby Arkwright. Great dude in our scene. Built some really cool old school stuff. Congrats. And then happy born day to Ed Testerman, one of the big supporters of OLP. Here is where I was going to say brought to you by Local Rides Mag. I moved it up, so I'm going to say it again. You're welcome, Bill. I saw that you commented there a minute ago. Again, Local Rides with a Z magazine.com for more. Kyle, I know the podcast updates. I just want to remind people, Ronnie always talks about this. Leave a rating for us if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That goes a long way.
5 stars.
5 stars. We gave out some of our best of awards at LST. We're going to give the rest out at Mini Nats. So we're looking forward to that, and we can't thank Welch's Chop Shop enough for partnering with us to create those. We pay for those out of our own pocket because it's the right thing to do. We want to give back to the scene. In closing, I want to thank Scraping the Coast, our title sponsor. Again, every June, one of the biggest, baddest shows. They also have what my dad would call Freon poisoning, that beautiful air-conditioned feel when you walk in the Coliseum there in Biloxi. So we're super stoked about that. Kyle, I know we went over a lot. We did a lot in an hour and 15 minutes. We had some hiccups at the beginning. We had some people that stuck with us, so we can't thank them enough. And I'll get it all ironed out, Kyle. I'm over here trying to pull all these puppet strings.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see how the transcribed audio turns out to see if the AI really knows what we're saying here.
Dude, yeah, you can only imagine when Hank Norris is talking, which isn't very often.
Hank Norris might be the AI.
Yeah, he is. Speaking of Scraping the Coast, it's 107 days away for anyone that's scoring at home, June 21st through the 23rd of 2024. Listen, I would love to cover more, but that's what we got for this episode. Kyle, I can't thank you enough for sticking with us. Kyle, we've got a little something in the works. Maybe we'll hear more from you in the future. I would love to do that. You're a good dude. You're out there firefighting. You got your dad's truck. Give him a shout out. That's right behind you there.
Yeah, the one right here, it's my dad's 41 Chevrolet pickup truck, and it served its life as a utility truck for the Portsmouth, Ohio Fire Department. So it's in phenomenal shape because, it has been inside its whole life and probably got washed every day. So no rust on it. The paint's in very good shape. So all OG.
Love it, dude. And I know your dad's been through a lot. I wish him the best as he continues his fight. As we all get older, it gets a little bit tougher. So everyone take care of yourself the best you can. Thank you guys, Matt, everybody that chimed in, Local Rides Bill, good people out there, make the scene go around. Stay on the rise, everyone. We out here.
We out here.
Peace, mother effers. Thanks, man. I don't know what happened, dude. In the beginning,